Okay, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Drop the Puck podcast. I'm your host, Matt. I'm here with Bobby, Liam, and Paul. And today we're going to be talking about the Central Division of the 2020-2021 NHL new divisions. So kicking it right off, we're going to go to the Carolina Hurricanes. Last year, they had a really good season. They did have a really good season. Not a team that I expected to be where they were. But you know what? They had some pretty big names stepping up. They got Aho, Hamilton's up there, and they got the goaltenders of Mrazek and Reimer last year. That was a really good pairing.
Okay.
How do you guys think they're going to do this year?
I like this team a lot. I don't know. I see a lot of top-end talents. They have pretty solid roster throughout. They definitely make the playoffs. I don't know. We'd have to definitely go through the other teams, but they definitely get to the at least second round of the playoffs, I'd say.
So just to put it in perspective, they went to the semifinal. Wait, no. Wrong season.
Oh.
They didn't go to the semifinals. I wish they did. So yeah, what do we think they're gonna do? How do we think they're gonna do?
Bobby, I'm surprised that you say they're going to get to the second round. I don't think that's going to happen.
So what I found, they got eliminated first round by the Bruins, which, you know what, that's a commendable way to go out. It's the Bruins. They're a good team.
Well, yeah, that's not a very good team to go up against first game.
Okay. So just to make things clear, so the NHL, they're doing interdivisional play. So Carolina, Chicago, Columbus, Dallas, Detroit, Florida, Nashville, and Tampa Bay are all going to be playing games against each other. And for the first rounds of the playoffs, they're going to be matched against each other. I find it hard to see them get pit up against a first-round opponent and not win that series.
Well, you said that the first round has to come out of that same division.
Yeah, so what they're going to do, they're going to...
Tampa's going to cream them.
4 teams make it to the playoffs in each division. They get matched up against each other until there's one team left in each division. Then they get matched up against each other to keep things local.
That's a good idea. I haven't heard about that. Right off the bat, Carolina, in my opinion, is going to be a playoff team.
Absolutely.
They got pretty good stats. Sebastian Aho led the team with 68 games, 38 goals, 28 assists, 66 points, plus minus a 10. I'm gonna butcher this. Steventikov. He was the guy who had that nice lacrosse goal. Yeah, he had that nice lacrosse goal since the NHL.
Oh, yeah,
insane. Excellent.
Yeah, that is
player.
true.
Excellent player. With 68 games, 24 goals, 37 assists for 61 points. And surprisingly, top 4 for their points is Dougie Hamilton, a defenseman, 47 games, 14 goals, 26 assists for 40 points. That's good. You know, having a good two-way defenseman who's got some good offense. Do we think this team's going to perform like they did last year?
I think they could, but with a lot of trades happening, there are especially in their division, they're going up against Tampa and Dallas. Those teams were great in the playoffs last year, so they're gonna have I still think they will have a hard time going against those guys.
Yeah, I mean, with this entire division too, it's almost doesn't really matter how much good players or good stats they can get for this season, because they still need to go against Tampa, and I just don't see anyone who's up to that challenge.
Tampa has been trading away a lot of key players, and it's gonna be real. They trade away Paquette. I know that was a pretty big trade for them. I don't think they're gonna be playing at that caliber that they were last season. It's gonna be really interesting to see if they can improve, especially when they made so many cuts and trades. Carolina, in my opinion, they're going to be a tough team to get by, especially in this division. You know, even their goaltenders,
Oh, yeah, who do they have for goaltenders?
They got
Rainier?
Mrazek and they got Reimer.
Oh.
Just pulling up their stats. They got so Mrazek's their big goalie, had 40 games, 38 starts, 21 wins, 16 losses, goals against average of 2.69, and a save percentage of a 905. Solid goaltender. Excellent player. And I think, you know what? He's going to keep doing what he's doing, and he's going to keep playing at that high caliber level that we expect him to.
I just don't see much changing with this team, really. I mean, they didn't really lose anyone in free agency. Carolina Hurricanes didn't really trade anyone. I just find it hard to see that this team will change much from the caliber team where they were last year. They will make the playoffs, and they will definitely make it a pain in the ass for anyone to make it past them into the semifinals for the division.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for a team to get to beat the Carolina Hurricanes. Next, let's move on to the Chicago Blackhawks, a struggling team that's in the middle of a rebuild now. What are realistic expectations for these guys? And also just to put in perspective, they went out first round against the Knights. Again, commendable, but they didn't really put up a fight. So, what are realistic expectations for the rebuilding Blackhawks?
Well, who do they have? Like, who are they eyeing up right now?
Well, right now, their top players, Patrick Kane, Jonathan Tavares, they lost their goalie in Corey Crawford. So he's out of the mix. So, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. And at least they got Duncan Keith, excellent defenseman. Still got Alexander Nylander, great player. But really, they're just gutting their team and building it back around Patrick Kane and Jonathan Tavares.
Jonathan
Taves.
Sorry.
So Patrick Kane, I'm looking at your Toronto shit and it's got me all messed up. So Patrick Kane had 70 goals, 70 games played, 33 goals, 51 assists for 84 points. Taves had 70 games,
good player.
18 goals, 42 assists for 60 points. Is that real? Is that where we would expect Taves to be playing?
I didn't expect that to see.
I thought he would be playing much better hockey.
I think more impressive than Taves' 60 points is Dominik Kubalik. Rookie last year ends up with 30 goals, 16 assists for 46 points. Third there. I feel like this team has a lot of top-end talent. I don't know.
It appears to me to be a pretty young team.
Under any other circumstances, I'd say they'd be flirting with a playoff spot. But I don't know. Like, clearly they're rebuilding. Clearly they have a lot of other holes in the roster.
I think
this is
it's very good that they're trying to rebuild. At least they are trying to go for something new. They've seen, like, in the past couple of seasons, that they're just pretty much sticking to the same stuff, and they're losing all over again. So it's very good that they're trying to shake things up. But
I think just because they're trying to rebuild, nothing good's gonna happen for them.
Yeah.
No. But they need change to happen in their team. The question is whether or not this is the best kind of change.
That is true. I just don't see them. I don't see them performing that good, especially because they said it's a rebuild. We're gonna gut our team and we're gonna rebuild it. I don't see them. Like, I don't see how a team that says they're gonna rebuild is gonna go to the playoffs.
It might need a couple more seasons before they get used to this whole change in the lineup. Then
I think they'll get a few guys in the next couple of years and then have something good to work with. But I don't really think they got much to work with right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's still the Blackhawks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone really had much of a chance.
I'm looking at trades they've made, and really there's not much. They got Nathan Knoll from Philly a while back. And that's really it. We got to go all the way back pretty damn far to find a good trade that they made. Looking at off-season signings. Not much to look at. They got Dylan Strome on a 2-year contract, Carl Soderberg on a 1-year, Lucas Wallmark on a 1-year. So they're just kind of re-signing some guys from last year, but overall they're going to be gutting their team.
Yeah.
I think, you know what, they're going to lay back, try to get some data this year, and figure out how they're going to build a team over the next few seasons. I think that's what their best shot would be for this year.
They might need to yeah, it's disappointing, definitely.
Sounds like a fair assessment.
It's disappointing for the people of Chicago. Yeah. But you know what? We've all been there. Like, Bobby and I, we both gone through rebuild.
I mean, just look at my Leafs. Just first-round exits year after year.
Yeah, but think about it. You guys were
you would know best.
You guys were a joke a couple years ago, and then you went through a rebuild, got all these young guys, and now you're doing pretty good. Chicago could do the exact same thing. It would be really interesting to see, but they gotta figure out how to do the rebuild nicely. Like, Buffalo's rebuild didn't go great. We haven't made it to the playoffs since the rebuild, but if you do it like Toronto did in a similar way. First round exits every year, that's pretty good. You're still making playoffs, and you're still improving from not making playoffs.
I would really like to see this rebuild go the way of Toronto, because it would be very refreshing to see Blackhawks actually as a
it'd be nice to see them back,
like an actual chance to get into the playoffs.
It'd be nice to see them back at their Stanley Cup tier.
Yeah.
Time
will tell, I suppose.
Let's move on to the Blue Jackets.
Yep.
Obviously, excellent team. 2 years ago, shocked the world, eliminating Tampa. That really solidified them as a powerhouse team that should be threatened, or that should be feared. And then Tampa got them back last year and smoked them in the first round. Not the follow-up season they wanted to have, but still pretty good. They got some new guys. Max Domi. That was a huge trade. The Josh Anderson for Max Domi. Big trade. I do think Montreal came out on top in that trade. But Max Domi's still a great player. He played 71 games, 17 goals, 27 assists, 44 points. They got Nyquist. He had 70 games, 15 goals, 27 assists for 42 points.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of guys who are lots of big names here. They still got Nick Foligno, Seth Jones. They got Koivu now. Some big names, and their goaltending is not good. They lost Sergei Bobrovsky and tried to get Kopasol, or whatever his name is, in there. And you know what? He did a good job. He had 37 games, 19 wins, 27 losses, 5 OT losses, goals against average of 2.6, and a save percentage of .911, which was pretty good. And then they got that young goalie who did phenomenal. I can't even pronounce any of these names. Merzikins, or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yes.
There we go.
33 games played for 13 wins, 9 losses, 8 OT losses, 2.3 goals against average, and a .923 save percentage. Those are two very, very good goalies. And you know what? They're very, very young, so they're very, very cheap, which is very good for the Blues. Do we see them going to the playoffs?
I feel like they will. They're definitely. I think Nashville would be. I think it's safe to say Carolina, Dallas, Tampa Bay take the 3 playoff spots, and then I think it would be between Columbus and Nashville to battle it out for that last playoff spot. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah. I think it's going to be Tampa, Dallas, Columbus, 100%, and then Nashville and Carolina on the bubble there. I think Columbus has the means of getting there, and they just gotta do it. They just gotta go out there and really, really, just show what they're made of.
I think you might be right.
And it's really interesting to see. Last year, they made it to the playoffs when over 70 games, they had 180 goals, but they gave up 183. They finished like 5th last in terms of goals for compared to goals against, and they still made it to the playoffs. That just, like, in my eyes, that just shows good defense. And instead of, like, when they lose, they get blown out, but when they win, they keep it tight, which is really good. I think they got the means to go pretty far in this.
As long as they keep it tight.
They definitely have playoff aspirations. I could see them easily pulling off another upset, making it to the second round. Do I see them making it out of the division? I'm not sure. But they do have a solid roster.
They do. They got a very good roster, some good players, and I'm really excited to see how the chemistry between these guys is going to work out.
Yeah. A new roster. What happens with Max Domi? I don't know. I like it.
Yeah. Paul, what do you think?
I honestly think like they do have a good team, but I don't think they'll make second round. Maybe first.
I'm thinking second round.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Bobby's right. If they get a good pairing in the first round, they can win it. But you know what? Second round, when kind of those like down the dumps teams are being feeded out, then they'll get smoked.
They need to make sure they don't lose any momentum. They need to start strong and finish strong, pretty much.
Yeah. We did, I believe we talked about Dallas last episode.
When they were
Pacific Division.
Yeah, we did talk about Dallas, so let's switch them up for Minnesota, because I know we didn't talk about Minnesota. So Minnesota is in the West Division. We didn't talk about them, so let's just graze it over and see what we think about them in the West.
Ooh, this is interesting.
It kind of feels like Minnesota. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of feels like they sort of fit in with the West.
They do, but they got gutted.
Oh, they
no
did?
more Stahl, no more Koivu, no more Dabrowski.
Jeez.
He was a trade in the middle of the year, I believe.
Why would they trade him?
I don't know, so, but they do have Cam Talbot. And Stalock. Two solid goaltenders. Talbot is a great goaltender, and he will definitely do good for them. He had 26 games, 12 wins, 11 losses, with a 2.63 goals against average, and a 919 save percentage. He's an excellent goalie, very underrated. And it's a good move for them, because underrated goalies, again, they're cheap.
And it doesn't look like the other goalies are too far behind him. Stalock, he's got a save percentage of 910. That's not bad.
That's a solid for backup goalie. And you know what? They still got Ryan Suter. They got Zach Parise. They got Zuccarello. Right off the bat, those are three big names. They're putting up great points, lots of assists, maybe a little on the downside for goals, but still, they were playing good hockey. And that got them, I'm just checking. They didn't make the playoffs, though. They were one of the 6 teams that didn't make the playoffs, which Minnesota is never really a team that I look at and I'm like, that's great team. They're just always like in the conversation for me.
They've always just been so.
They did go out and they got Johansson from the Sabres in the Stahl trade. And they still got Marcus Foligno. Do we think that they're going to make the playoffs this year?
No.
Oh.
No.
Well, have they ever made the playoffs beforehand?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They-
no, they have.
They've made the playoffs many times. But you know what?
I see them making the playoffs in the Pacific. I weirdly
just
do.
because of the division they're in.
I think they're one of the 4 teams to make it in. I think we don't even need to talk about Anaheim and the Kings, but I think they edge out Arizona and San Jose if you're looking for that last playoff.
So San Jose I think will definitely be edged out by Minnesota. But I don't think Arizona will be. I think the top 3 are Vegas, St. Louis, Colorado, and then
Yeah.
Arizona and Minnesota are going to be really fighting for that spot. Because both of those 2 teams, they're not high caliber teams. They're like, if they make it, it's nobody's surprise. But if they don't, it's also not a surprise. They're bubble teams. And it's really interesting. It's really going to be interesting to see how they perform.
A lot of these divisions are going to be competitive. Like, sure, you have your clear-cut playoff teams, but I think a lot of these like lower-edge teams battling for the last 1 or 2 playoff spots is going to make this a really interesting season.
Yeah, I agree with
quite
that.
enjoy this.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's get back to the Central. Detroit. Are they making playoffs?
No.
They're not making.
Easily no. Easy
Not
no.
making-
Poor Detroit, man. They can never catch a break, can they?
They got Larkin. They got Mantha. Bunch of names I don't know how to pronounce.
They have Bertuzzi.
They got-
Fabry, I think.
They got Howard. And they got Grease in the net. Really, it's not looking good. So Howard last season, I'm just gonna put this out here. Howard last season played 27 games. He had 2 wins, 23 losses, 2 OT losses with a 420 goals against average, and a save percentage of 882. That just hurts. That hurts to see.
Oh my gosh, this poor guy.
Another goalie.
He's trying
Bernier.
so hard too.
Jonathan Bernier had 46 games, 15 losses, 15 wins, 22 losses, 3 OT losses, 2.95 goals against average, and 907 save percent. It's not looking good for Detroit.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well, what do you think?
we can
sorry, go
blame
ahead.
this. We can blame this a lot on their defense because I'm seeing numbers here for plus minus, -21, -23, -33, -38.
-45, -42. Oh my god. Just across the board.
Yeah, just a lot of negatives.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
not. It's not
Oof.
looking for Detroit this season. Are they going to be dead last again? Dead last out of everyone. Are they going to be dead last in the NHL?
They seem like the most likely.
Which team would you say has a worse situation?
No one.
I would have put it between Ottawa, Anaheim, and Detroit, but
I would say Anaheim. Anaheim would be the only other team that's in a worse position because Ottawa did pick up
actually has good draft picks.
and Ottawa picked up Murray.
Yep.
Ottawa picked it up a bit.
Even Ottawa and Anaheim's positions are better than this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't see Detroit
Yeah.
doing anything in the
Now,
In like the next years too.
A year from now, do
In
they
the
get screwed
next
out of the
year's
number one
because
seed
they're
again?
not even rebuilding. They haven't talked
No.
about rebuilding or anything. They're just playing bad hockey.
well, if they were to rebuild, what do you think would be the key aspects they really need to shake up? Would it just be
Goalie.
defense?
immediately goalie. That's the
Yeah,
only
first-
thing I can see coming to mind.
goalie and then defense. And I'm even wondering, do we blame this on the coaching staff?
Oh,
Mm.
that's a good question.
Like,
I mean, you have a point, but I'm not seeing very many good stats across many
I'm not
stats.
seeing many high caliber players. First of all,
Yeah.
second of all, I'm not seeing great stats. But like,
Well, yeah.
we could also infer that we could assume that some of these guys just weren't ready, and the coaching staff like put too much on them or just played them in the wrong way. Because I am speechless. I don't know how they did this. If we I'm just gonna pull up. So they had 142 goals on the season. They gave up 265 goals on the season, which is the most in the NHL.
Oh my gosh.
Ottawa was the second bottom, but they didn't give up nearly as many. So Detroit averaged 2 goals per game, and they averaged 3.7 goals against per game. I don't know what to say. It was not a good season.
If there's already Red Wings fans watching this, I'm genuinely sorry.
Their power, just to put this into perspective, their power
How do you
play,
guys
their power
carry
play
on with yourselves?
Their power play percentage was 14%.
That's
I don't know
That's
how they
brutal.
managed to do this. I remember them a couple of years ago when they were going toe to toe with Tampa in the playoffs. Now they can barely stand.
Oh my, it's hard to believe
Didn't
that they
they win a
used to
Stanley
put up
Cup
a fighting
within the
chance
last 10
against
years?
Tampa too.
I don't know if Detroit's won the Stanley Cup in the last 10 years. I know that they've been up there.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure on that. I think this was all a topic we were very excited to talk about, was the Detroit Red Wings.
yeah.
Any Red Wings fans out there,
Just to
I
say
think
how bad
Detroit
they
has
are.
been on a
we're sorry.
downward spiral for many years, and with this season, it doesn't look like they're getting any higher.
We are very sorry to any Red Wings fans out there. I know there's probably one or two of you. We are sorry.
But there's always next
Look,
year.
Look at my background. I've been
Not
where
even next
you
year.
are. I've been where you are.
Yeah, just look at Bobby's background. He's been there.
We
So
both of
many
us have been
times.
there. And if you don't do something now, you're gonna be sitting there for a while.
Mhm.
Just gut the entire team. Just purge everyone.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Legit.
go to their free agents and just see what they picked up. Really,
It's so surprising that the Blackhawks decided to go with a shakedown and a reorganization of their team, but not Detroit, because it feels like Detroit needs a shakedown much more than Blackhawks ever would.
oh, right there. There's one guy we didn't talk about. The Red Wing. I believe the Red Wings now have Bobby Ryan.
They do?
Yep, they have Bobby Ryan. They signed Thomas Greiss from the Islanders.
We completely missed Bobby Ryan in that conversation.
Oh, we're talking about goalkeepers. They signed Thomas Greiss from the Islanders this last season.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know that.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
completely
29 to
forgot,
16. Or
completely forgot about Bobby Ryan.
16 and 9.
It's gonna be interesting to see. I think part of the problem is the coaching and the management, because clearly they haven't picked
I'd
up.
put management
players they
before
need.
coaching, if I'm being honest. I don't know.
Well, it just looks clear that they're relying on young talent that maybe just isn't ready. And I think whatever they're doing just isn't working, and they should really just change it up completely.
Yeah, maybe the shakeup should also apply to the management as well.
It'll be very, very interesting to see. Well, if we put it into perspective, I'm just going to use Buffalo as another example. We were not doing much in terms of acquiring because of our general manager over the last few years. And then we dump him, sign a new guy, and the first thing he does is go out and gets us Taylor Hall. And then he gets us Mark Stahl, and he gets us and he gets us Cody Eakin. All great guys. He got us tons and tons of new guys, and I'm going to be really excited to see that. But Detroit needs to do something now. They need to say, hey, we're rebuilding.
They need a clear direction and for everyone in the organization to get on board.
I think they just need to wipe it and then just take a step back, look at everything, and figure out where to go from there and get on the same page.
Yeah.
A complete fresh start.
Enough about having fun.
Yeah, we could fill up an entire episode talking about Detroit.
I think we've done this for 10 minutes already. Like, I wanted to talk about that for a while. That one was fun. Again, Red Wings fans, we're sorry. Florida Panthers.
Ooh. This is a team.
I know
This is a team.
I'm just looking here because I remember they picked up someone in the offseason that was pretty good. Anthony Duclair. They picked up Anthony Duclair from the Send. That's a really good pickup. Got a goalie, a few forwards, a few defensemen, pretty good.
They traded for Hornqvist. I remember that, but I think that was early in free agency.
They got Mike Hoffman still, Anthony Duclair, Brett Conley. Yet they do have Hornqvist. They still got no, I don't remember if Holla left. I'm pretty
sure he went to Carolina, I think.
I thought he went to Nashville. Yeah, Eric Holla went to Nashville.
Yep.
So they lost a big name there, but they did they got some other good names. It's a solid team.
They do have Barkov.
They do. It's a solid team.
62 points.
Just looking at, they were also another team that did not make the playoffs. But I think they do have the means to get to the playoffs. Like Andrei Barkov, Mike Hoffman, Anthony Duclair, all great names. And then they got goaltenders in Sergei Bobrovsky now, who's phenomenal goalie, in my opinion. And so, like, Bobrovsky had 50 games, 23 wins, 19 losses, 6 OT losses. He did have a pretty high goals against average with a .323 and then a .900 save percentage. So, like, he's a good goalie, more wins than losses, but still, it's a little high goals against average. Barkov had he had 66 games, 20 goals, 42 assists, 62 points. That's great. And I think with some of their off-season pickups, they're going to be very, very talented, and they'll be very, very good. It's going to be very interesting to see what they're going to do this year. I think they're in a position like San Jose was, where they didn't do great, but there's still a team you can't fully take out of the conversation.
This will be a 6-team fest for 4 playoff spots. This Central Division seems pretty equally talented. You have your clear top teams in Dallas and Tampa Bay, and then you have a smorgasbord of 4 teams below them, all trying to get 2 different playoff spots. This will be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think Florida has the means to get to the playoffs. And I think, what? I think they're going to have a pretty good season. It'll be very interesting to see what they do. Liam, Paul, you got anything to add to
that? Well, I don't know too much about Florida. They're the one team I pretty much know nothing about. I don't really follow with them. But, Bobby, what you were talking about, how we have the clear heavy hitters, and then everyone below is just kind of vying for spots, just in between the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
I think you're right in that prediction. And
Like, I think Florida's gonna challenge. They'll challenge, but I don't think they quite got a spot. In
I mean, just looking at the stats, it doesn't seem like why they wouldn't be able to challenge. They're not in a bad position.
No, they have good players, and
I just don't see anything that like really stands out. Like, what's gonna like ensure them that they get one of the 4 spots?
Just to put this into perspective, they finished 6th for goals for with 228, and they finished 5th for goals against at 224. So clearly the offense is there, but I think they got to tighten up the defense a bit in order to get a playoff spot. Because it's like the old saying goes, offense wins games, defense wins championships. I think they got to tighten up the defense a bit more, and then boom, you got a solid team.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
It's going to be interesting because gone are the days when any team can try and get a wild card spot, and then you have 3 teams. And then you have 3 teams that are going to make the playoffs, and then you just have the teams that are trying to get wild card spots. This is actually going to be between all these different teams in the same division. It's going to be interesting to watch. I could see it going both ways for Florida.
It's gonna be really, really tight for all these. Like Bobby's saying, like there's 2 or 3 teams that are like 100% going to the playoffs, and then there's a few teams where you're like, this is gonna be really interesting to see.
Yeah, you're right. All these wild cards in one area together.
Yeah, I think they will definitely annoy the top people in top teams in the division.
It'll make more than a few people sweat.
Yeah, they'll definitely put their name in that division.
They got a statement with the team is don't sleep on Florida. Like they got that statement pretty much printed on this division. Moving away from Florida to Nashville. They're guaranteed playoffs. Nashville is a team that I think always has a playoff spot.
Really, Nashville?
Yeah.
I don't see it.
But they didn't go to the playoffs last year.
I'm looking at their goalies now, and it's not looking too great in my opinion. Because they have Rene. He's 36 games played, 18 wins, 14 losses. And a save percentage of .895.
This team is really, really similar to Florida, minus some of the top-heavy talent.
Yeah.
That you get with Huberdeau and Barkov.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. If there's one playoff spot left, who do you pick, Nashville or Florida? They seem pretty evenly matched, right? They'll play each other 8 times this season.
I mean, I don't want to sleep on Nashville or anything, but I think most people expected them to go pretty far in the playoffs, and then they just didn't show. So what's to say that this season is going to be any different? There doesn't seem to be a huge change in their lineup.
Just based off the record of this franchise, they went to the Stanley Cup Finals. It was either 2016 or 17 against Pittsburgh. And they've been a consistent playoff team ever since, making it to the first or second round. I don't know. I would give the edge to Nashville just based off the culture of the franchise. But again, it's going to be interesting to see how everything is shaken up this year with the divisional play and how they fare against some of the other teams in this division.
Yeah, that is very, very true.
Anyone else got any final thoughts?
It's gonna be interesting to see what Nashville does. So they got Yossi, they got Forsberg, they got Duchesne, they got Ellis, Johansson, all big names, all great players, and goaltenders. They got Rene and Saros, two decent goaltenders. I think you're right when you say Rene's on a little bit of a downcline.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's still a solid goalie, and I'd pick him. I'd pick him to do good in any season. I think Nashville, like, they're gonna be right on the bubble.
Yeah.
They're gonna
That's
be
fair.
right there.
Yeah, definitely.
It'll be very, very interesting to see what's gonna happen throughout the course of the season. Especially like when you're playing in this division, because like some games, like you look at it, and we're just gonna use Detroit. You put Tampa and Detroit, that's a gimme for Tampa. We all know that that's pretty much a gimme. But if you're gonna go like Tampa and Dallas, we don't know what's gonna happen there.
Oh, that's fair.
It's an interesting division. I think like Nashville against most of these teams will do pretty good, but there's still some of them will knock them down, and it just all depends on how badly they do.
If it comes down to
those-
one game, like say for a series of 5, they're tied 2-2 going into game 5, who wins? You put Nashville against most of these teams, who wins? I really wouldn't know who to pick.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Nashville has more of a chance to go far this year than compared to last year because they seem to be on more of a equal playing field this time around.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those.
I'm just wondering
teams, they
if
seem
like
to be pretty evenly matched.
I'm just wondering if them missing the playoffs last year was like a sign that they're gonna be decreasing. Like I don't want them to go on a decrease. I'm hoping that they're still gonna stay as a good team, but we don't know what's gonna happen.
Nashville's a good fan base, always been a decent team for the last 5-6 years. I would hate for them to be on a downturn this year. I agree with Matt on that.
I feel like it's coming though. Like I think they're going to do well sparring in this division, but beyond that, I don't really see a huge a turnover for them.
And then let's move on to the last team, the reigning champs.
Oh.
Thank God they're not playing with Buffalo. The Tampa Bay Lightning. I hate the
Oh
Lightning.
boy,
One
this
team
team.
I don't like is playing the Lightning because I'm always like, fuck, we're screwed. We're just dead. We can't do it.
Well, you,
So they got Brandon Point, Steven Stamkos, Kucherov, Victor Hedman, Platt, Tyler Johnson, and the list just goes on and on of names we know that are on Tampa. But
Best goalie in the league, Vasilevsky, and
My
I'll repeat it till the
God,
day
yeah.
I die.
But Tampa has been gutting their team. They've lost a few guys. So they got Anders Nielsen from the Sens, but traded Paquette, Brandon Coburn, and the second round pick. That was December 27th. That was a big trade in my opinion. But Nielsen's a great goaltender. He is an excellent backup goaltender. I'm just looking for other stuff. I remember they didn't.
Shattenkirk went to Anaheim in free agency. I know that much. I think he signed a 3-year deal with Anaheim.
They got Barclay Goodrow in a third round. They got Goodrow from the Sharks and a third round from Philly, and they lost the first round.
oh
That doesn't really seem.
yeah, that doesn't seem to be Tampa's
That was
style.
way back. That was
Losing?
way back in February though. So
Okay, well that makes sense then.
I want to say, like I've been saying, I want to say they're not going to repeat, but they're in the conversation.
Do they make it out of the division?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I can see them doing that. Yeah.
Them in Dallas to decide who makes it out of the division, repeat of the Stanley Cup Finals. That actually would be really interesting to watch.
I'd have to say
Yeah, fun
that,
repeat.
I would have to say that Tampa would get out of that alive though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Barely, but
defending Stanley Cup champs,
I
think we
think-
owe them the respect.
I think if they get out of it and meet, so they met the Islanders in the semis last year. I think if they get out of it and meet the Islanders again, they're screwed. I think the Islanders got them this time.
Really?
I don't think they're going to be as high caliber as they were last season. I really don't think so.
Yeah, but they're still, I think, one of the best teams in the league at the moment.
100%. 100%. They're one of the best teams in the league. But I just think they're not going to get it this time.
Their
I think
core from last year is still the core they have this year. I don't
Okay,
know.
but is that
in terms of the division, they got the division locked down. But in terms of the conference, they're nowhere close.
No.
I think there's still some big competitors out there who are going to challenge them for the conference.
I don't know. I think I mean, I don't know how Tampa has gotten it like this, but they have some really heavy hitting players on their
They got
team,
big
and
teams.
I just think that Tampa is an easy contender. Like they're the popular choice, I suppose.
And like Vasilevsky at goal. Yeah, that's
Oh yeah.
one of the best in the business at what he does. It's going to be really interesting. As much as I think they got the division on lock.
I see a path for them to repeat. I really do.
I see it if everything falls into place.
Yeah,
after
if
they
everything
get out of
goes
the-
right for them, I see a chance for them to repeat. Will they? I feel like no, they won't.
I think like the stars have to align. Like freaking, they got to win the division first of all, in
Yeah.
my opinion, which I think they got. I think they do have the division. Secondly, whoever they play next can't be a high caliber team. It's got to be some miracle that just got there. Like I think if they show up and they play the Islanders, Pittsburgh, Washington, they're gonna lose. Even the Canadians, I think if they play Toronto, they'll get kicked. They'll get their asses handed to them.
Against Pittsburgh, I can see them losing, but the other ones, I think they have a chance.
Even against, I wouldn't say Boston anymore, but we'll go over
Well,
that.
I know the way they're gonna seed things after, like whoever makes it out of the division, they're gonna seed it similar to a regular style. They have the 1 seed versus 4 seed, 2 versus 3 seed, and depends on points in the regular season, like how many wins they all and all that. So why some chance they make it out of the division? I don't know.
They will definitely be the team to watch.
Yeah, definitely. But they always are. Tampa's
Yeah.
always that team that you got to keep your eyes out for.
Do they beat Boston? If Boston makes it out of the East Division, do they beat Boston?
No, Boston's not where they were. You know what? They got rid of a bunch of guys. Boston is not the team to watch in the East.
Well, I love that as a Leafs fan, but yeah.
I love it as a Buffalo fan, but I still gotta go. I still gotta suck it up and play them. So ranking the division, top 4. Well, let's just rank it from best to worst. Liam.
Is that the teams in the division or the division?
Teams in the
against others?
division.
Yeah.
So we're ranking the Central Division, best to worst.
Okay. This is it's going to be a little tough just because of all the so-so teams in the middle, but I'm thinking Tampa and Dallas. Tampa is number 1, Dallas is second, and then
I think
third.
we can all agree Tampa and Dallas are going to be the top 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, are we all just
I have Dallas as number
putting
1.
up?
You have
And Dallas
Dallas as
and
number
Tampa.
1.
Ooh,
Yep.
that's
Your
interesting.
faith in Tampa slipping there, eh?
that's
I mean, whose team has changed more over the offseason, Dallas or Tampa? I'd say Tampa.
Tampa's has, but it all depends.
It's
Has it
true,
changed
yeah.
for the better or for the worse? Like I'm just gonna go. Let me just go to the free agent tracker. Let's stick with Tampa for a second. They really, yeah. You know what? I'm looking at this. They have not really signed anyone this offseason. No one worth talking about. Just some minor players and just.
They've lost more than they've gained this offseason.
That is true, but
Like,
I still
assessment.
think their pieces are a bit better than Dallas's. Okay.
Okay,
Who's next,
so-
Liam? Who's third?
Okay, so Tampa and Dallas. Then I'm thinking Nashville, then Florida, I'm going to say
Ooh.
Columbus, Carolina, Chicago, then Detroit.
That is probably one of the most ballsy.
Yeah.
The most ballsy
You
lists
have
we could have started with.
That
That's a ballsy one.
I don't know how to feel about that.
Okay, so we're all Tampa and freaking
Dallas.
Dallas are locked.
Yeah, in our
We're all-
top two.
100% on that.
Yeah.
You said Nashville and Columbus 3-4.
No. I said
Or no,
So
Nashville
was
remember,
and
your
Florida.
top four
Sorry,
making the
Nashville and
playoffs, the
Florida.
others are not.
What
Yeah.
the
Nashville and
hell
Florida.
are you?
Yeah.
like I said, man, it's hard
interesting.
to
Like, I could see it. It's not like it's absurd, but it's
well, when
like
I was just thinking about all those wild cards together, and the ones that stood out were Nashville and Florida, and then Columbus and Carolina. I just they
I
seem just
can't disagree with them because they
kind of
did stand
so,
out.
you know.
Yeah, no.
I'm thinking
Exactly.
third is Carolina, and fourth is Columbus with Nashville right on their tail, and then I'm thinking Florida, Chicago, Detroit is my bottom three.
Are we also all agreeing that in the bottom two is Chicago and Detroit?
Well, that's not
Yeah.
a discussion.
Yeah, that's
That's not.
Yeah.
It's just that's
But who's gonna do worse, Chicago or Detroit?
Detroit by a mile.
Detroit.
that's not even a question.
No, because Chicago's rebuilding.
They would
So,
have
like-
to trade both Tays and Kane
Yeah, but what's
for them to do worse than
What dumb
Detroit.
shit are they gonna pull just because they're rebuilding? Like, we don't know.
Yeah, they.
Well, just because the fact that they are rebuilding is making them consider what they need to improve on their team. So that
Like,
that's
I'm
like
just gonna
maybe
put this.
slightly better.
I'm gonna say
Like-
baseball stuff here. So when the Blue Jays were rebuilding their pitching staff, they traded Stroman and Sanchez. They just got rid of them. They traded Donaldson. They were doing all this stupid shit that no one agreed with, and they got a closer like Diaz who pitched in the double digits for ERA, which is fucking horrible. Like, is Chicago gonna? I don't know, pick some random guy and hope he's gold.
Well, I think Chicago's intention is to rebuild around Tays and
Taves and
Kane.
So are they gonna
As
like?
long as you have those two players on your roster, you do not do worse than Detroit. I don't care who else you put around them.
But are you gonna just like grab some guy, like some random ass guy, and trade away some good players for him?
I think they trade away bad contracts, but they don't trade away good players. Because they have a good core already. They have a decent roster. They'd be competitive.
It's gonna be really interesting. I just don't see them doing anything because they're rebuilding.
I don't see them doing anything major.
No.
I really don't.
So we can all agree Chicago and Detroit are the bottom two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Paul, who do you got at 3 and 4?
3 and 4, I would say Carolina, then Nashville. But like, I think like, and then Columbus, then Florida.
Can we all agree that Carolina's number 3? Well, no,
Yeah.
Liam can't. No, Liam doesn't.
Yeah,
think it.
Liam's.
Carolina does not seem like a 3.
Bobby?
No, I have Carolina, then Nashville. I have Florida 5th, followed by Columbus.
Ooh.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So majority says top 3 is going to be Tampa, Dallas, and Carolina, which I think's fair. I think that's good. So the 4th guy, I have Columbus.
All right.
Liam has Florida. Paul, you said Nashville.
Uh,
Or did you also say
Did I?
Florida?
wait, what did I say? I'm
No,
trying to
he said
process.
Nashville.
And then Bobby, you also had Nashville.
I have Nashville. Yeah,
No,
I have
f-
Florida
no, for-
5th.
Oh yeah, Nashville. I had 4. Yeah.
So majority says Nashville is going to be 4th.
Okay.
So we're looking at the top 4: Tampa, Dallas, Carolina, Nashville, with Columbus and Florida just behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it'll definitely be close.
I think
Between
that's
all of them.
fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So
No, that's anyone's ranking, really. I mean, it's not hard to make that ranking. I just can't wait to see how everything plays out.
because it could it could be really interesting because I don't know how some of these play against each other. Like I know Montreal, great team, and then they go to Buffalo and Buffalo wins a lot. Or same with Toronto. Like it's
Yeah.
just like a shit team wins something and they just have something over one team for whatever reason. I don't know what they got there. But like Chicago could have something really good on Nashville and then just smoke Nashville in every game.
Yeah.
Mm.
It'll be really interesting.
These teams are going to know each other so well. It's going to be so much fun to see these rivalries.
I can't wait to see like how this is gonna affect players. Like you know how like competitive and like how much fighting there is in the
Right.
playoffs.
Yeah.
What the hell is gonna happen when you tell these 7 teams to play each other there day after day after day?
Yeah, Dallas and Tampa made it to
It's-
the last Stanley Cup final. You have that rematch 8 times
Or
over the course of the
That's gonna
season.
be great. That's gonna be great.
Dallas,
So-
Nashville, like everyone has playoff history with each other, and then you're asking them to play 8 times in a year. This is going to be great to watch.
It's gonna be fun. So, instead of doing one fun question, I had a couple. First off, Zdeno Chara to the Capitals. Now, his reasoning was Boston wants to play the young guys a lot, and it is very true that Boston's roster is very, very young. Was it a good idea and like he was asking for a bit more, I think, and Boston didn't want to do it. Was it a good idea for Boston to let him go?
That is really hard to say, though.
Zdeno Chara
I mean-
is 43.
He's old, like
Yeah.
he's
43. I would have honestly rather seen him retire as a Boston Bruin than him just play out his last year in Washington.
yeah, but no one said this is gonna be his last year. I think.
Yeah.
Well,
I
has
think
he been?
I think if
Sorry,
he
go
doesn't
ahead.
get a contract, it might be his last year. But like this just shows that he's still got playing time in him, and he's gonna keep playing until he sees otherwise. Kind of like Jaromir Jagr.
Exactly.
He got drafted in '97. He's been with the Islanders, Ottawa, been with Boston since 2006. I would have rather seen him retire a Boston Bruin after
Yeah. It's like
13, 14
It's
years. I think.
upsetting. It's upsetting to see him go. But you know what? In Boston's eyes, it was for the best.
Yeah.
I
You know
mean,
what,
I
this could-
detest the Bruins. I would have, and I'm happy to see him not be there anymore. But still,
I think he'll be a good fit in Washington. You know what?
Yeah.
Just add to their defensive core. Be very, very good. Next topic, Hendrik Lundqvist. He's having open heart surgery.
Right.
Our prayers are all with him. We want to see him get a speedy recovery. Is it the end? Is it the end of his career? Just because of the open heart surgery.
I want to say no, but I have a really big feeling that it will be.
I think.
Yeah.
I think just because of the
Yeah.
severity of the situation, it might be the end of his career, which is very, very sad to say because I wanted to see him play in Washington.
That
And I
would
love
be
Hendrik
interesting.
Lundqvist. He's an amazing, amazing guy, amazing player.
he signed
His career
1
come
year.
to an abrupt stop. I'm not
It's
saying
had-
it's
yeah,
the
it's had a
end, but it
one-year
came to
contract
an
this last
abrupt
season.
stop.
I mean, if
it
he
is-
does end up coming back, he will have to have some very reduced play time for sure.
I don't see him
He's a
coming back.
goaltender though. Like it's very hard. Well, they do have Craig Anderson, so you could be a backup, but I don't think Lundqvist would settle being a backup goalie. I think he
Well, I mean-
wants to be the starter. But
He just
No,
had
I
open
mean,
never
heart
know.
surgery. He needs to realize that
Really
he's
do
not going to
think
be
he
in top
retires.
shape.
I think it would be in his best interest to retire, but he might not. he might not see that as the best thing to do. But we'll have to see how that goes. Last thing I want to talk about, World Juniors. We got semifinals yet to happen at the time we're recording this. This video should be out tonight, so it will be ending shortly after this video comes out. Are we saying Canada wins?
I say it'll
Canada
be
has
a
to be
very
the clear
close.
favorite.
Yeah.
Canada has to be the
Canada
clear
is
favorite. But I feel like something's gonna happen. Like if we play, I would rather play, I think, Finland than the U.S.
We're playing Russia right now.
We're playing Russia right now, but say we win Russia, make it to the finals.
The
I think
U.S. is almost a gimme.
Yeah,
But
pretty much.
US
Finland's
is
been pretty good. Finland's been pretty good. I won't knock that.
it'll be entertaining.
Canada's the last standing undefeated team. I think we're gonna go all the way. But
Yeah.
like Bobby said, anything can happen.
It's the juniors. It's one game. It's not like a series.
Yeah, injuries could happen.
Anything
Goaltender could have a
can
bad
happen
game.
in one game.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely seems like the obvious choice would be give it to Canada, but like you said, things are unpredictable. Stuff could happen. We don't
it'll
know.
definitely be interesting to watch.
I just don't really consider Russia, because Russia has been pretty good.
Russia is normally a powerhouse of
Yeah.
any hockey tournament.
Well,
But-
yeah, but
Like they got they beat the U.S. fairly early on. I'm just gonna pull up some of Russia's games. Give me a minute. So let's see here. Russia narrowly beat Germany. Beat Sweden in OT on the 30th.
mhm.
Smoked Austria, but that one was a gimme. Lost to the Czech Republic 2-0. Lost to Sweden 7-1 really early in the tournament. And then beat US 5-3. So obviously they're a good team, but they're like some
I feel like
Little-
there's no real worries.
few hiccups. I think just because it's Russia, we should worry. But you know what? I think Canada is gonna do good. Do good.
Yep.
So that's all the time we got for this episode. Let us know what you think about the Central Division. Were we fair? Were we unjust? Were we bullying the Red Wings and talking up Tampa too much? Probably. We're sorry. Like
They're just bad.
we just
Unless you're a Red Wings fan, you agree with us.
it's
I
hard.
agree.
It's very, very hard to not talk about the Red Wings negatively because of how they've performed recently.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not our fault, Detroit fans.
Not our fault. It's yours.
Exactly.
It's yours. I hope the Red Wings turn it around because
Mhm.
that's a great franchise. But yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. So that's all for this episode, guys. We're gonna try to post more regularly in 2021. We got some
Happy
big
New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. We got some big things coming up. Not gonna talk about it too much, but definitely keep watching. We're gonna have some contests, some events, some new stuff happening.
I think
And-
we're gonna drop a juniors episode once everything's all said and done. I think.
Yeah, we're
That's
definitely
right.
gonna try to do that in a few days. But once
Look
that's all
forward
said
to
and done,
that.
and you know what? I'm looking forward to keeping this going. So we'll talk
Yeah.
to you all soon, guys.
And I hope you guys are looking forward to it as well.